with the U.S. over a bilateral trade deal, even though relations with Washington have soared badly during President Donald Trump's second term in office. Moving on to some regional trade conversation, the African Development Bank, AFDB, has met with the Arab Coordination Group, that's the ACG, a group of Arab development finance institutions in Abidjan. Is an effort to attract more cash for them as Western donors retreat. The sides signed a formal declaration setting out the new terms of engagement, including co-financing priorities. AFDB President Sidi Tar said closer ties with the group were key to bridging the growing gap in development finance as donor nations, including the United States, cut spending abroad. He stated that what is necessary now is more structured and strategic partnership. According to Tar, working more closely to the ACG, which includes the Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa, the OPEC Fund for International Development, and Saudi Fund for Development could mobilize added long-term funding for priorities including industrialization and job creation. According to the Vice President for Operations at the OPEC Fund for International Development, Rami Ahmad, the new approach would involve the creation of coordination platform to target long-term big-ticket spending across regions rather than one-off investments in individual countries. Away from that report, Ugandan Communication Commission, that's the UCC, has disowned as fake a notice circulating on Facebook that it plans to shut down the internet and mobile money service before and during the country's 2026 elections. In a statement on X, the UCC told the public that a circulating notice is fake and not issued by the UCC, adding that it only distributes official updates via verified channels. A public notice purportedly issued by the UCC citing the need to secure the electoral process had stated that the commission planned to introduce communication measures before, during, and after the country's general elections. The document referenced provisions of the Ugandan Communication Act, citing sections that empower the regulators to supervise communication services and regulate content during sensitive national events, including elections. Moving on to other stories, the Vatican ambassador for Angola, Archbishop Crispin Dubel, disclosed plans for Pope Leo XIV to visit the country as part of his multi-nation trip across Africa. Archbishop Dubel told newsmen in Luanda that the Catholic pontiff had accepted an invitation from President João Lourenço, but that the date and other details were still being worked out. Pope Leo had said in a December news briefing that he wished to visit the Vatican, but did not mention Angola. The member of the Augustine religious order had said that he wanted to visit Algeria, the birthplace of Saint Augustine of Hippo. A Tunisian appeal court has upheld a 22-year prison sentence for the head of the Ennahda movement and former parliament speaker Rashid Ghannouchi in the high-profile Eastern legal case. The ruling confirmed earlier verdicts against 40 politicians, journalists, bloggers, and businessmen while modifying the sentence of one female defendant and ordering her release, according to judicial sources cited by state media. A lower court had on February 15, 2025, handed down prison terms ranging from 5 to 54 years to 41 defendants, including the 81-year-old Ganmuje, who has been in detention since April 17, 2023, following a police raid on his home. He has since received multiple prison sentences in separate cases. Meanwhile, the court ordered that the release of journalist Chata Mubarak, who was jailed since 2023 in a conspiracy case after reducing her prison sentence from 5 years to 2, making her eligible for immediate release. Under the ruling, Mubarak was released with the 2-year sentence to be enforced only if she commits another offense during the probation period. In another development, Somalia's defense ministry says National Army killed 17 al-Shabaab terrorists in an overnight air operation in southern Somalia. In a statement, it said the operations targeted a location in the Bad Godone area of the Middle Shabelle region, where the Al-Qaeda-linked group planned attacks and manufactured explosive devices. The ministry added that the operation, conducted with international support, destroyed weapons and vehicles used by the terrorist group in its operations. Al-Shabaab has been pursuing an insurgency against the Somali government for over 16 years, frequently targeting security forces and officials and even civilians. Meanwhile, Ethiopia's intelligence chief, Ridwan Hussein, has made an unannounced visit to Somalia to meet President Hassan Mahmoud amid heightened tensions in the Horn of Africa. According to reports, Hussein met Mahmoud at the presidential palace to deliver a message from Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, though the contents were not made public. He also had talks with the head of Somali's National Intelligence and Security Agency, Mahad Salad, at the agency's headquarters. However, neither the Ethiopian nor Somali governments had issued any official statements on the visit or disclosed details of the meetings. The visit comes against the backdrop of renewed regional tensions following Israel's announcement recognizing Somaliland as an independent and sovereign state, a move that made Tel Aviv the only country to formally recognize the breakaway region. Moving on, Turkey and Somalia have sealed the Turkey-Somali Joint Labour Commission first meeting protocol and the 2026-2027 action plan, formally bringing the agreement into force. In a ministry statement, Turkish Minister of Labour and Social Security said the protocol and action plan emphasize comprehensive and sustainable cooperation in key areas. It listed the key areas to include labor inspections, occupational health and safety, effective management of labor migration, vocational training, and the development of national occupational standards. Ishikan, after a bilateral meeting with Somali's Minister of Labor and Social Affairs, Salim Ibro, and his delegation, commended the continued strengthening and expansion of Turkey-Somalia relations, noting that bilateral ties have gained a strategic dimension over the years. He expressed hope that the 2026-2027 action plan will elevate existing cooperation to a more advanced level, expand its scope, and provide a solid and sustainable legal bias for the exchange of information, documents, and experts between the two ministries. You're still watching the African News right here on Voice of the People Television. We'll go straight to the analysis segment of the news. And joining us now to make sense of these stories and more is in the studio with us, Barrister Darlington Agumo. Barrister Darlington is a legal practitioner right here in Nigeria and also a public and political affairs analyst and commentator. Barrister, a very good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon, David. And how are you?
I'm fine, very well, thank you, Barrister. And how are you doing as well?
I'm okay.
All right, let's get to our virtual guest. And we have joining us all the way from Kenya is Mr. Martins Irere-Mjue. Mr. Martins is a public and political affairs analyst and also the CEO of WealthGate Insurance Agency. I understand he's yet to join that conversation. We have all the virtual analysts also to join the conversation, and all the way from Uganda is Dr. Joseph Opu. Dr. Joseph is the director of Opu Skilling Foundation Africa, and he's also a public and political affairs commentator. Well, while we wait for this gentleman to join the conversation, let me start off with Barrister in the studio. Interestingly, Barrister, this conversation, particularly on the Turkey-Somalia Joint Labour Commission, is something that, again, some would say Somalia at this point is aiming for more cooperation, particularly on bilateral terms with the likes of Turkey. First, conversations about Joint Labour Commission and also economic improvement. Do you think Somalia at this point, with the moving away of Somaliland from Somalia, would gain more from this kind of bilateral agreement with Turkey?
Every country is entitled to pursue their interests with other sovereign countries.
Right.
As long as it is a sovereign nation, why not? If not, there is no, I don't think there's any equivalencies on their way. As long as they have agreed to have a joint labor commission, it's allowed.
Now, how much of these kind of agreements do we see the countries of Africa enjoying more from? Because there are some quarters that have said that these kind of conversations are not clearly understood even by the leaders who are signing it on the part of countries from Africa. How true can this statement be? Because developmentally, Somalia also is still struggling to find her feet.
What it means that when it comes to labor issues, you know, the International Labour Organization is something that the charter is domesticated by each country.
Yes.
And these type of commissions are allowed by each country. And so, where you have a long shortage of manpower, you can liaise with the other country that you have a rapport with or you have a close relationship with, so that there will be transfer of labor and all that. Is there anything wrong with that? I don't think so. Yeah, it's mostly, you know, the countries that are well developed, they seek for labor, especially when the people that are involved in construction and all that, they can rent labor from other countries as long as you have all that they require. And you too can equally apply for labor from the other countries that are well developed, where you have a manpower shortage. So it is not something that is undoable.
All right then. Well, let's still talk more on Somalia. Interestingly, the Ethiopia's spy chief, so to say, I'm talking about Ridwan Hussein, was seen in Somalia, of course, under the direct orders of the Ethiopian Prime Minister. I'm talking about Abiy Ahmed. And as it stands right now, as of filing this report, there's not been clear-cut statements, both from Ethiopian government and, of course, from the Somalian government. But there have been some conversations about the fact that Ethiopia seemed to be in the mix of all of this. Now, clearly, it is also clear here that Ethiopia was one of the countries that formally recognized Somaliland after they moved away from Somalia, a conversation that have also been a major talking point even across Africa. But the question now is, Barrister, can these kind of, I don't want to call it secret meeting, can it really deepen on the part of security for Somalia?
As long as the the leadership of Ethiopia approved the visit and is from a spy chief or
Yes.
intelligence officer, that means they are talking of security-related issues, maybe against the Somaliland and the world powers that are coming in there now, because it is a threat to Somalia. If those people that are coming in are allowed and all that, they need to be security conscious.
Okay.
And if Ethiopia has upper hand in this matter, then they needed the cooperation of Somalia.
Now, Barrister, what exactly, from your perspective now, do you think the likes of Ridwan Hussein, who, like I said earlier, is a spy chief, authorized to offer a government of Somalia by demand? Because some have said, is he coming to offer port access timeliness, security guarantees, or even recognition steps? Something that clearly the Foreign Ministry of Somalia is supposed to be, of Ethiopia, I beg your pardon, is supposed to be the ones who are coming to do this kind of conversation, rather than a spy chief.
No. You see, what is happening in Somaliland now,
Yes,
is like world powers are interested in that place. You remember China said something about recognizing the place. Israel has already done that. And so it may become the next port of call for world powers, you know. And so security is important for both Somalia and Ethiopia. If they don't start now to put things in place, they may be taken unawares. And that is the first thing any country does, is to secure its territorial integrity. And so Ethiopia may be thinking of this type of cooperation because of what is coming. These people that are coming in this Somaliland, are they coming for good or for bad? And these are the things the two countries need to find out and know way to protect themselves.
so this is clearly about security protection, rather than what is envisaged.
Because of what is going on, because of the people that are coming, there must be a reason for all this scramble for Somaliland. You know, these people, whenever they are interested in a place, it's not for nothing. There must be something behind it. And so these two countries, Ethiopia and Somalia, are trying to see if they can now begin to look at what is coming before they will be taken unawares. A country like Israel that is known for covert operations, they cannot enter a place without looking into the security architecture and all that. And so these countries are being conscious of all these things. That is the truth.
All right, then. Well, some have said, Barrister, that the past administration earlier, they had a strategy going about things like this, particularly the fact that Ethiopia had strategically banked on Djibouti at the time when it was talking about infrastructure and, of course, the sovereignty altering bargains, which we see Somaliland have gains from. But with China involved in all of this, Barrister, is there the possibility that the cross corridor of Somaliland trying to navigate that to get access even the Red Sea might be a conversation that no one is talking about, right?
Now, you mentioned Djibouti.
Yes.
The most militarized region in the whole of Africa is that Djibouti, where America has their base and all that.
Right.
And now they are looking down from there. They are surveying Africa from there. And now this other world power is coming in to Somaliland, recognizing it against the wishes and aspirations of Somalia.
Okay.
And so when players are coming in over a particular territory, there are something they are looking for. And if you don't start from the beginning to check some of these things, it may backfire. It may take you unawares. And And so this is why these countries are now saying, look, we need to do something. That if you check, the visit was not made public.
Right.
It was a secret mission and nothing was disclosed.
Yes.
That will tell you that it is a high-level discussion from government to government. And it cannot be unconnected with what is happening in Somaliland.
Okay.
That is the truth. There is the scramble for Somaliland now because, of course, that country, that breakaway region is vulnerable. It's very, very vulnerable. And these world powers are coming in there to, if not to threaten the region or to exploit the region. That is just the truth. Access to sea and all that is very important in international trade.
All right, then. Let's get this conversation to Kenya, where I'm being told by my producers right now that Mr. Martins Jue has joined the conversation. Mr. Martins is a financial advisor, public and political affairs analyst as well. Mr. Martins, a very good afternoon to you, and thanks for joining the Africa News conversation. Join. Well, I think he's still trying. Okay, fantastic. Because I wanted to find out if we've established communication with you. But let's start with this conversation about the visit of the intelligence chief to Ethiopia. I'm talking about Ridwan Hussein, who made an unannounced visit to Somalia to meet, of course, with the president Hassan Mahmoud amid heightened tension around the crux of Africa. What do you make of these kind of visits? Barrister here has said it is it's not unconnected with the fact that higher powers are involved with the Somaliland breakaway region that has been an access point for the likes of China that has practically and publicly identified with Somaliland, even when countries in Africa have not recognized the Somaliland. What's the position with this kind of visit? Again, intelligent visit, but then what's the position on the part of the economy as well? Oh dear. I think we're having a bit of network problem right now, and I'm hoping that Mr. Martins would in no time get it right with us and we can have this conversation. Barrister, you did make mention earlier on the part of world powers being involved with Somaliland. Let's talk about the economic bottom line here. Logistics diversification clearly is attractive on paper when it comes to Ethiopia and Somalia. But without political legitimate framework, corridor economics clearly won't, have a clear lender, path. What do you make of the fact that should Ethiopia and Somalia have a clear-cut political framework as to how to navigate and how to shut out Somaliland, particularly on their access to the Red Sea? Do you think this would also affect Somaliland on the long run?
Yes, there is no way it will not affect it. It will, but it depends on the volume of trade.
So the fact that China is involved right now, Barrister,
yes.
Don't you think that's another volume of trade on its own that will be coming to Somaliland?
No. The volume of trade in this case means Somaliland. How many are they? Can they accommodate what China is coming in? And with the economic accommodating, that is the issue here. So it cannot be too voluminous like countries like Nigeria and all these bigger nations. So China is coming to take advantage. Maybe if you are the first to come in, you will now exploit the resources before that will know what is going on. That is the only reason why China is coming. It's not about trade. Somaliland is not that big to make volumes of trade with China. It will come in trade posts and all that. They are mostly coming for what? For exploitation. And for a big power. When they come in, they now entrench and establish their president before that will come in. And before Israel is coming, mostly Mostly.
Even Israel has also recognized.
Yeah, that was the difference is coming because of the Hamas or Palestinians that they want to ship into Somaliland. And if they are going to pay for it, why not? After all, Donald Trump is doing the same thing with ex-convicts. And so, the bottom line is that if I were Somaliland, I will not say because I want to eat meat, I will not call a goat brother. If they allow this power to come in, when they have not established their foot on ground, it will be dangerous for them.
Really, Barrister, I wanted to ask that as well. Looking at the fact that they're having this contested recognition all across Africa, how much of financing do you think they would be able to get to themselves? Particularly on the fact that not all African nations have even recognized them.
The money they are looking for will be coming from outside. And they are going to be enslaved by this world power if they give them money. That is just the dangerous part of it. Look, Somaliland need to be very careful. If these people come in, especially China, they will become slaves in their own country. The self-recognition they are seeking for, China may give it to them. But will they be free? Will they be their own man? Their economy, their politics and everything.
You think they would not have that enough?
China will just overrun the place. It will be neo-colonialism. And then their resources will just go into the hands of China. That is anywhere China is in Africa is about exploitation. They are not there for your politics or whatever. No. It just exploits you. Nothing else. Now, maybe help you to rebuild your infrastructure and all that. But you will pay for it. Is it not the same China that built the AU bid in Ethiopia? And China is constructing 70% of the roads in Ethiopia. Look at that. Is it not from the profit they made that they built that house? You think China can just build that kind of gigantic edifice for you for nothing? No. It is the money they made, the profit they made from the contract you gave them. And it's even their people that built it. It's the people that collected the labor.
So, Barrister, you're not optimistic about the fact that Somaliland might just have more gains in all of these contracts and deals with China?
It's not possible when they don't have a strong political leader that will even speak for them. That's even another thing.
And that also includes recognition by some other African countries.
That's a fact. It's a problem here. Since AU is not in sync with what they are doing. AU cannot agree because it means sabotaging Somalia. That's just the simple truth. On what ground are you doing that? If you do, on what ground are you doing that?
Huge question there, Barrister. Let's still stay with Somalia because quite a lot of stories are coming from there. Interestingly, the Defense Ministry has said the National Army killed about 17 Al-Shabaab terrorists in an overnight operation in the southern Somalia. Well, this clearly was targeted somewhere around Jabhat Gordon area of the Middle Shabelle region where Al-Qaeda linked group consistently have a hold on. With this kind of development, Barrister, well, it's not about the first time that the Somalian army is clearly saying that they've had this level of victory against Al-Shabaab, of course, with the cooperation of international security forces. Should we say that Somalia is gaining upper hand against a group, an Al-Qaeda group that have, over the years, terrorized them to a pulp, even now?
I think that Somalia has delayed this matter for too long. For 16 years, these Al-Shabaab have been holding sway in that part of their territory.
Yes.
I was thinking that by now, Somalia would have asked for international assistance to, overrun this Al-Shabaab and their rascality. That is what I think they should have done. And I think Somaliland is going the way they are going now because they need help.
All right.
If they have gotten this help, I don't think they will be seeking for this thing they are trying to do now because it's a landlocked place. I don't know how far they want to go with what they are trying to do. I don't know how many there are. But if they have gotten the assistance they need to deal with these terrorists, they would have Somalia would have been better for it. So when they have allowed this guy for 16 years now, I think that's what caused the breakaway and all this thing we are seeing today.
Yes. All right, then let's take this conversation to Kenya, where I'm hoping that Mr. Martin's network is quite stable now to start off this conversation. Once again, a very good afternoon to you, Mr. Martins.
Good afternoon. You can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now, and I'm hoping that the network is quite fair enough to deal with this conversation. We're still talking about Somalia, and of course, the military have said that in a very coordinated attack against the Al-Qaeda-linked group, 17 Al-Shabaab members have been killed in that operation. What's your position with these kind of developments? Knowing for a fact that, yes, it has to do with cooperation with international security forces to getting it done. And like you have heard, even from Barrister here, 16 years down the line, that Al-Qaeda-linked group, Al-Shabaab, have been really dealing with the Somalian government. Down the line.
Thank you. One thing is that Al-Shabaab has been an island into Africa economy, and the African country should ensure that they have destabilized the Al-Shabaab network across the borders. Doing that will enhance the country-to-country trade. It will even enhance the country economy to fast track their record going to the future, whereby there is no hindrance in matters of terrorism. Another thing is terrorism is it is a group organized by these political elites with an interest to carry illegal businesses, and hence destabilizing the Al-Shabaab network. It will give the country stability, even peace and growth. So where there is a terrorism threat, even the diaspora, even the tourism sector become destabilized. So destabilizing the network operation across the African border, not only in Somalia but across Africa, it will give the Africa trust even from abroad, because now it is a center of international trade and the network from the investors. So once the country has what we call political stability, security stability, this will even give Somalia the trust across the border.
All right, then. Well, I still want to stay with you. And then concerns are being raised, really, about the fact that the government of Somalia has said to an extent there should be some level of dialogue with this Al-Shabaab group before this coordinated attack on the Al-Shabaab group was done just yesterday. But the concerns are being raised about the fact that given years of inconclusive, military circles, about the conditional engagement, something to really dive into with the level at which the Al-Shabaab group, terrorist group, have really disseminated the military in Somalia. Should these be a conversation at all?
Yes, Mr. David, I don't think there should be any negotiation with any illegal group that are destabilizing the country economy. In fact, all sector will become destabilized because now even there will be no investor in that country, and there is insecurity, insurgents. So the other thing is to destabilize their network across the borders. Negotiation is giving them power, and that power is what they will use to destabilize what is the network that is existing for the better of the country and international trade. So there should be any dialogue. That one should be countered with any time possible. So the only avenue is to to call the international communities and the country of goodwill through and diplomatic avenues, so that they can use power to destabilize this regional group that is threat to economy and growth of the African trade.
All right, then. Let me come back to the studio here, Barrister. Almost same question is what I'm going to ask you. There's been a proposal for conditional dialogue with the government of Somalia and, of course, the Al-Shabaab terrorist group. Concerns have been raised about the fact that the government of Somalia wants to have a dialogue even before this agreement of coordinated strikes was done yesterday. Should these kind of dialogue be even tolerated in the beginning?
They shouldn't. There should be no dialogue with terrorists.
Should that even, does that strike like a weakness on the part of the government?
Of course, that's the only reason why this thing has been sustained for 16 years. If the country is strong enough, they would have ratted them out long ago. And so the government of Somalia should be asking for international assistance. Donald Trump is looking for what to do. The man is falling for action. The government of Somalia should approach him. He's like now the world one-man world mercenary. Wherever you need him to go and fight, just call him. People are protesting in Iran, and he's threatening to go there and deal with the leadership. And so, call Donald Trump. These guys are, it's not up to what he eats for his lunch now. He will rat them out instead of dialoguing with the terrorists. For what? Don't you know that it will now give them more temerity and more audacity to threaten another neighboring state?
Oh, well, Barrister, because of our time, really, let's jump straight to Uganda. Uganda is going to the polls tomorrow, and clearly it's about who would be the next president of Uganda. Incumbent President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni is, of course, in the ballots, and of course, opposition figure Bobby Wine is also in the ballots. But the conversation from Uganda is that the Ugandan Communication Commission has its own as fake news that the internet will be shut down come tomorrow and even after the election, days after the election. But the question now is, this same thing happened in 2021 where a nationwide internet blackout was clearly found. What concrete legal and policy changes were made afterwards in 2021? And we are again in 2026 hearing the same thing. In fact, just yesterday, I don't know if you recall, the barrister from Uganda also said internet has been shut down in the country. So who should we believe right now?
David, one of the modus operandi of dictators is what? Lies, falsehood, deceit, and doublespeak. They use it to confuse the public. You just mentioned that the same thing happened in 2021.
Yes.
So why do you think it will not happen in 2026? Just tell me. These are things that he has been using to gain ascendancy to power. So what makes you think that he will not use it again? Anyway, I have told you, there is no election in Uganda tomorrow. What we have is election. There is no election. And I challenge anybody to come and face me and tell me that that thing they are doing there is the election. Let the person come and face me. And let me tell the person what I know of democracy and how it works.
Oh, well, very huge challenge. Let's take this conversation to Kenya while we wrap this up. Mr. Martins, you're a financial advisor. Interestingly, as it stands, mobile money also will be shut down tomorrow. What is this portending for the economy of the country that is also trying to grapple with its inflation rate at the highest level, all-time high, in 2025?
We should understand in every country election act is that it is to be transparent, verifiable, credible, and transparent. So if you shut the network down, it means that the process will be compromised. Else the election will not be verifiable, it will not be transparent, and the ends people will raise questions, even the international community will raise questions about it. So the essence is, if the current regime want to leave an history to generation, is to give this election the credibility it deserves, to give it the transparency it deserves. But where you shut down the network and you are expecting the same people to come and vote for you, that shows that you have gone contrary to the humanitarian law. And not only international, even international law, because now it will read if there will be any altercation after this election, or there will be post-election violence, it means the ICC will summon the culpable. And this is not what we call democracy. Democracy is whereby we respect the governing constitution to give it the credibility, to give it the power, to give it the authenticity, to give it what the ID it deserves, so that we can show the maturity and growth in our democracy.
All right, thank you so very much, Mr. Martins, for chiming in on that particular one. Barrister, before I let you go in 30 or 10 seconds, the Pope is planning a trip to Angola. Would that have some level of, I don't know, I don't want to use the word cleansing on the African soil?
That's not the place he's supposed to go. Maybe there's a particular reason. But I doubt if it will yield any fruit. I don't think so. There must be a particular, maybe somebody, maybe the Catholic personality that need to be canonized is there or something, Abi. That could be the only reason. Apart from that, I didn't see anything. Look, the Western world, please help us. Any election in Africa that is not free and fair, that there is no level playing field, the person that won don't recognize him. Please declare that person persona non grata. That by the time you continue to do this, they will now think twice before they rig election. They rig themselves into power. That is what I feel they should do to help us.
All right, then. Well, that is another interesting clarion call from the barrister here. I want to say thank you to the analysts who chimed in on the African news analysis this beautiful afternoon. We had virtually joined us virtually. I'm talking about Mr. Martin Sirere-Njue, a public and political affairs analyst and commentator, financial advisor, and of course the CEO of Westgate Insurance Agency. Thank you so very much, Mr. Martin, for being here. We appreciate you. Also joined us in the studio with us was Barrister Darlington Agumo. Barrister is a legal practitioner right here in Nigeria, and also a public and political affairs analyst and commentator. Barrister, thank you so very much for being here.
It's a pleasure as usual.
We'll take a very short break now. When we return, over 13 reportedly die in eastern DR Congo's landslide. This and more after the break. Stay with us. Glad to have you back. In a sad development, no fewer than 13 persons, including 4 children, have reportedly died in a landslide triggered by heavy rainfall in a village in North Kivu province of the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. According to reports, residents have recovered 13 bodies from the rubble so far, including 4 children, while local officials said dozens of people may still be buried under the debris. Villagers from Brutsi and surrounding communities have joined rescue efforts combing through the debris in search of those still unaccounted for. North Kivu has been hit by deadly landslide and floods in recent years, particularly during rainy season. And from that story, move straight to talking African business stories. Angola has extended a one-year $1 billion debt facility with JP Morgan, opening new tab for 3 years and secured an extra $500 million in financing. The Finance Ministry said the new 3-year contract carries an interest rate within 8%, adding that the rate on the original facility was just below 9%. Angola and JP Morgan agreed to the initial 1-year derivative contract known as a total return swap in 2024. Meanwhile, the country's bond prices extended earlier gains after the news of the extension, with the 2048 maturity trading 1 cent higher than 86.97 cents on the dollar. According to the head of Africa strategy for Standard Chartered in London, Samir Gadio, news of a 3-year transaction and an additional $500 million of financing will be well received by the market. And to wrap up the Africa news, we go straight talking sports. Eritrea is set to play its first international football in over 6 years after entering the preliminaries of the 2027 African Cup of Nations finals to be played in March. The isolated state on the Red Sea was drawn on Tuesday to take on Eswatini over 2 legs in the preliminary round in March, in what would be their first outing since a friendly loss to Sudan in January 2020. Eritrea has not participated in any internationals since eschewing the opportunity to compete in World Cup and World Cup of Nations qualification after players consistently defected while on away trips. Players and other team members defected after matches or tournaments in Angola in 2007, Kenya in 2009, Tanzania in 2011, Uganda in 2012, Botswana in 2015 after a World Cup qualifier, and Uganda again in 2019. It is estimated that some 80 footballers have defected while playing for the national teams abroad, with none of them going on to pursue football careers in exile. Interesting story there. But with that, we've come to the end of African News right here on Voice of the People Television. Do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. On YouTube, we're at Voice of the People TV, and on all other social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. Thank you so very much for being a part of this broadcast. I am David Edwin. Do have a good afternoon.
Behind every broken desk lies a broken promise. Education shapes the nations. But who is asking the right questions? Introducing Edu Dialogue, the show that goes beyond the surface, exposes the cracks, the corruption, and the silence in Nigeria's education system. Edu Dialogue, Saturdays, 3 p.m., only on VOP TV. We break the biggest stories, from missing funds to policy failures. We ask the tough questions and demand real answers. Edu Dialogue, this Saturday, 3 p.m. on Voice of the People Television.
Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I, with you in mind We facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I. From social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more. Tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count.
Hello there, my name is Damilola Ogunsi, also known as the Goldfish.
Hi, my name is Chiki Bright Emmanuel. I'm an actor and a filmmaker.
Hello peeps, my name is Yomi E. Adejimo.
Hi everyone, I'm Paul Utomi.
Hi everyone, my name is Stacey Benjamin and this is Voice of the People TV.
I need you to keep it locked to VOP TV. See, are you looking for good entertainment? You want to get good movies, good music, politics, talk shows, sports and entertainment. You really want a channel that gives you everything you need without you having to run around. VOP is where you are. That's Voice of the People.
If you're not listening to this, you're not one of us. And you deserve to be killed. Scrap chat. Don't be killed, but watch it. Or I'll find you. And I want you.
And you are locked on VOP TV. Don't go nowhere. This is where the juice is. This is where all you need for entertainment, politics, movies, and whatnot.
And keep watching VOP TV.
So keep it locked because I'm locked already, man, and it's money back guarantee. So you're gonna have a good time because I do.
And please keep watching VOP TV.
I want something to actually, I beg you, subscribe, watch it. If not, whatever you see.
You better not touch that die because VOP is the plot.
In a world where power shapes with every headline.
In a nation full of questions.
In a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing.
And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
Behind every broken desk lies a broken promise. Education shapes the nations. But who is asking the right questions? Introducing Edu Dialogue, the show that goes beyond the surface, exposes the cracks, the corruption, and the silence in Nigeria's education system. Edu Dialogue, Saturdays, 3 p.m., only on VOP TV. We break the biggest stories, from missing funds to policy failures. We ask the tough questions and demand real answers. Edu Dialogue, this Saturday, 3 p.m. on Voice of the People Television.
In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get drive! Hunger no get religion!
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues, on Voice of the People Television, Mondays to Fridays, 8 to 9 p.m. The Issues. Don't just react, understand.
My name is Tao Familoni, and here's to VOP TV. Keep watching, stay tuned, do not touch that dial.
Arararara, my name is Made Kuti, and you're watching VOP TV. Keep watching.
Welcome, my name is Zika Davis. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, boys, viewers, everybody, boys and girls. This is VOP TV. Do you know what that means? Voice of the People TV. You don't have a voice, don't come here. You better make sure your voice is heard.
To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector, from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy.
This is Health Check, your weekly guide to better living, smarter choices, and trusted answers. From everyday wellness to urgent health issues, we've got you covered. Health Check, only on Voice of the People Television, where your health has a voice.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.
VOP TV. Now, you have more than a voice.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is a Maritime Frontier Show on VOP Television. My name is Dili Utomi. Today on the program, we shall take a look at the events of 2025. The Nigerian Customs Service is said to have met its own target, and the agencies under the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy have all performed creditably well, if all indications are to be believed. And today, we are going to look at the events within the maritime sector over the past 1 year. We have as our guest on the show today, Mr. Eugene Ara, a frontline journalist, the maritime editor of the Daily Trust newspaper. Mr. Eugene, you're welcome to the program, sir.
How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you very much. And Happy New Year to you.
Season's greetings to you too.
Yeah. Please tell...
I'm still waiting to eat my jollof rice from you.
All right, we shall meet. We shall take care of that. Looking at the